Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hunter's Real World, a podcast where we just sit around, chat, and have a good time. I'm your host, Hunter Karen, and today I'm joined by a special guest. He is a stop-motion animator from the country of Finland, who I have been following for a pretty long time. This is Lego Animation 6370. How are you doing today?
Hello, thank you for having me here. I'm doing great.
All right. Well, just to start off, like I said at the beginning, I've been following your channel for a pretty long time, probably around 8 or 9 years. And you're kind of the reason why I started doing stop motion myself. I started in around 2019, just experimenting with a couple stuff, and then once the pandemic hit here in the United States, I really started to make more movies. And over time, I've developed my skills to what they are today, and now I'm actually putting a budget into this stuff. So it's really nice to be talking with somebody who's been giving me a lot of inspiration for this stuff. And well, yeah, I'm glad you're here today.
Great to hear that. You are basically having the same journey as a stop motion creator, because back in the day when I started making animations, I was also inspired by other creators on YouTube, and it's like a nice continuation when people inspire each other, and it's like an ongoing thing, keeping this community alive.
Yeah. I mean, you have this whole animation industry that's starting to be dominated by artificial intelligence, which is really taking away that creativity in people. So it's really nice to see there is a good majority of people out there that are, as you said, fighting to keep this traditional animation alive.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so first question, how long have you been doing stop motion for?
Ah, well, by if we think when I really started making animations, I'd say it was about the same time I created my YouTube channel. So in 2011, so that's
Hmm.
15 years ago. March 15th. I remember it. The very first animation I made, the Lego airplane. That's actually a test animation, and I just decided, what the heck? Let's just upload it on YouTube and see how it goes.
Hmm. Well, first time I started was around July of 2019. I had been doing some test stop motion for like a few months before then, but using the app Stop Motion Studio, I can never find out how to upload it on YouTube. I just thought you just upload it right there from the app. I didn't know you had to actually download the video to your gallery and then submit it on YouTube. So my very first stop motion video, I had a dinosaur made out of Legos. It was part of like the 3-in-1 creator one, and I attached like a blue piece to the mouth to make it look like Godzilla doing his atomic breath. And so it's like a quick 10-12 second short with like me doing the sound effects as well as having like music playing in the background for it. So that was the first stop motion that anyone's ever seen me publish on YouTube. Then over like the next couple weeks I started doing similar tests with that same figure, and then eventually I think it was early March of 2020 is when I officially started making using Lego figures for it. I think one of my first big movies that I worked on was it was based off a video game called Do You Copy, about a park ranger overseeing a park at night, and he gets a call from a hiker who's being chased by a wild animal. Turns out to be a cryptid. And there's 4 endings of the game, so I just decided to recreate that in stop motion, and now it's one of my probably one of my most iconic series that I've worked on. Since then, I've made a sequel to it, and you know what? I'm gonna save this fact for later because I have a new idea for it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing that other media inspires you to make Lego creations or clay creations out of them. And like I back in the day, I also my first test animations also had clay, but it wasn't like stop motion clay. It was more like sticky tack,
Oh,
and those were those were horrible. Those are lost media at this point. They were horrible.
I have a couple bits of lost media as well as other creations I'm not too proud of, which I'll get into later. But how have those skills evolved over time?
You mean stop motion skills in general?
Yeah, how have your skills evolved over time? Because you mentioned these test animations, how you're not too proud of them.
Yes, well, in my early days of creating stop motions, I was like I didn't have any experience on using cameras. I only had Canon digital camera. It was those small compact ones, and
Oh,
uh, I didn't have any clue what frame rate to use. I just remember I had this weird value for each frame. It was 0.17 seconds, and that means about 6 frames per second. And that was very janky movement.
mm-hmm.
If you have seen my oldest videos, those are filmed in 6 frames per second. And the lights are flickering like crazy, and yeah, but there was a lot of freedom in that making it. There wasn't like any planning, any bigger plans to make the video. There wasn't even script at the time, so it was just like, let's just build the set and have some few minifigures in it, and let's see where it goes. But it
That's
had a lot of freedom.
that's the same thing that I did when I first started making it. I'd have like a broad idea in my head, but I never cut corners on how the story would plan out. I just improvise as I go. And it wasn't until 2 years ago that I actually started to write scripts for the movies, which first film I officially wrote a script for was called The Ghost of the Grand Bell Manor, because it was one of the first actually original ideas I had. Several years ago, I was trying to write a book when I was like 9 years old, and I only got to like chapter one of it, and it was the same title as the film. So I come back to it a few years later, and I'm like, you know what? Let's make a movie out of this. And it took like maybe a couple of months for me to finally decide to start working on it. And right then, I'm like, I gotta do something different. I need to stop improvising like I do all my other films and actually write a script for it. So I sat down, typed up like maybe 30 pages, then revised them with my dad, and he also voiced a character in that movie along with my friend Fetch Entertainment. And after like maybe 6 months of work, the movie was finished, and I was so proud of the creation, even though right before I finished it, I had a death in the family, which I was actually working on a scene when I got the news my grandfather died, so that was kind of hard for me to push myself to continue it, but I managed to finish it, finish the editing, and it released just before Halloween of 2024. And since then, I've had two other follow ups for that movie, which was The Cryptids of Sundance Ranch, and then the third film I'm currently working on right now, The Demon of Old Andy Bridge, which has got about 14 minutes completed so far, which is it's almost halfway done. It's shorter than the other film, so I'm excited to really start finishing that. And because of these two previous films, I've been starting to do more experimenting with like claymation because I'm not too used to that. I did do a couple of Play-Doh videos back during the pandemic, which got a couple thousand views on YouTube. I completely forgot I made those. But when I first really officially started making claymation figures was for the sequel to that Lego Do You Copy movie I mentioned earlier, where you could actually physically see the goat man, which was the cryptid chasing the hiker. And so I didn't know like how to make a figure, so I just made like a basic model, sculpted a head for it, had like no structure to the character, but it still worked out anyway. now creating the Goatman for the Demon of Old Andy Bridge, I actually went out and got aluminum wire, made a little skeletal structure for it, sculpted the clay around it, and right now I think I'm gonna call it a test figure because I don't know if it's gonna be official for the movie, but we'll see how well it does. And yeah, that I'm excited to work on that because stop motion for me, I had a lot of anxiety when I was younger, especially with lockdown. So doing stop motion was kind of like my therapy because it shifted my focus onto something that I could work on for hours at a time without being worried about anything else. And seeing the final product of this stuff coming out, that just makes me so satisfied with my work. I know I'm taking up like so much talking time and not giving you time to speak.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that creating stop motion is a very therapeutic experience because it's I like to use the word that creating stop motion it's like a one-man production house because you can control everything when you consider that Lego minifigures are your actors and you can build all the sets by yourself. You can do the filming, editing, post-production, pre-production, and all the stages by yourself. And that gives you like great insight what it's like to make movies by yourself. And in the end, when you see everything come to life on the editing table, and that creates a lot of satisfaction to see it. Such an lifeless objects like Lego minifigures or clay, when they come to life, it's like it's a little bit magic. There's
Yeah.
magic in it.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with how stop motion just brings any basic thing to life. Like when I made my Case of the Missing Shark statue movie, which you did comment on, which I'm very glad you
It
did.
was awesome.
Yeah, that one, I was in an audio video class my junior year last year, and we had a final project we had to do for class, which we'd spend 2 trimesters working on one film that we'd end up submitting to a film festival. So I was kind of pressured to do it because I came up with the idea in like a couple of hours. And that film is actually based off an older project I made a couple of years ago with the same title, except there was more story to it. There was not just a train chase in the film, but there was also a truck chase and then a dogfight in the air. And I ended up not completing that movie because I don't know. I procrastinate as well. So when I came up with this film for the film festival, I decided we need to shorten the story because the maximum time for the animation category was only 10 minutes. So I had to only use the train chase, rewrite the story a little bit so it'd have a linear ending to it, and well, yeah, like 4 months of hard work and it finally paid off. There's a couple of things in it that I would have done differently. Like you mentioned that the guy who voiced the clay figure, his mic quality wasn't the best. I was a little short on time on that. And I thought I made the audio loud enough, but turns out I didn't. So if I were to go back, I'd try and make that differently. Also, a couple of like the special effects shots. I feel like I could have edited the green screen better because there's still a couple pixel glitches in that.
Yeah, I think the best part about that film was that you used real life locations as the main setting. Was it? It was some kind of living room where all the things happened. And
Yeah,
I don't know if you have seen a old stop motion creator on YouTube called Robert Penfer, who created the Clayboard series. Because the clay figure in that in your film, it resembles a lot of Robert Penfer's animations, and the Clayboard series was a big source of inspiration for me back in the day, and I really recommend you to check it out. You can find it all of them on YouTube. For an example, you can write pancake mines, and you instantly find his
Oh,
video.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I have seen those with
Yeah, the
the little
blue
blue
mans.
guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And your film was like a nostalgic throwback because the yellow figure, the clay figure in your video, it resembled a lot of what Robert Benfer did, and he also uh, filmed his videos on real world settings, like in a living room or a bedroom table or something.
Yeah.
It was great to see same methods used in your video.
I haven't seen any of those videos in such a long time. So when you brought it up first, I was like, why does Claybot sound familiar? Clay World. It's called Clay World, but it sounded so familiar. Then you said Pancake Mines, and I'm like, oh, those blue guys. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
that challenging part about that film was my mom was iffy of me actually filming in the living room because our house is just a little bit messy. But with all the shots of the train going by, I blurred it in a way to where you couldn't tell what's in the background and you're more focused on the fight in the foreground. So kind of got that, sorted out. I think one of my favorite parts of that film was making the fight on the ceiling fan because I actually had to build an actual prop for the fan blade that they're fighting on because of course I can't just bring my camera up onto our actual ceiling fan to film the stop motion on because it's too flimsy, there's not enough structure, and it's too high up. So, luckily, we had a fan blade just from some old fan that my family used to own. We spray painted it white, just like the one in my living room, and then we attached it on like this little kind of little structure that would hold it up just fine, and then just did an animation on that. Challenging part about that was if you look closely in that scene in the video, you can tell that the light's moving each time each time the figures are moving because I each time I took a picture I'd have to move my spotlight just a little bit to sort of show that they are on a spinning fan as well. So try to be more precise and realistic with that so it's not just flat lighting the whole time.
I think the illusion worked very very nicely around the ceiling fan. Yeah, the lightning worked very great. It wasn't flat. Like you said, you had to move it, so there was some dynamic in that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that part.
Yeah. Um, Actually, I have another question for you. Have you considered submitting any of your films to film festivals?
Yeah, I have considered it a lot of times, but uh, I haven't really looked into that. What kind of film festivals are in the board, or what might be suitable for my kind of stop motion animations? Because um, there's often certain teams in film festivals that want films that support the general theme of those festivals. For an example, in Finland, we have several film festivals around the year. We have Tampere Film Festival in the city of Tampere, and then there's also in Lapland Sodankylä Film Festival. And I've looked into those festivals, and they have quite huge guidelines what kind of films are accepted each year, and my films just they don't really fit into those themes. I haven't really tried out just to send them an animation to animation category. It might work, but I haven't had time to try it out. But yes, I'd really like to send my animations on film festivals.
There's plenty of international film festivals held here in the US and Canada that offer a good range of animation.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't really looked into them. I think I really should because there are quite a lot of international film festivals, and
Yeah,
that might accept Brickfilms. I don't know if there is a film festival dedicated to Brickfilms and stop motions.
there
That would be
should.
sick.
There should be.
Yeah.
I think that would really open up a lot of opportunities to young aspiring stop motion animators if there was a festival only dedicated to brick films, because then you have something universal, something anybody can afford, because all you need is just a couple of Lego figures, a camera, a set, a story, and then boom, just put your time into working on that. There have been a couple of brick films I've seen that have won film festival awards. For instance, there was one somebody did. They made a remake of the Titanic sinking, which was like a 12-minute short film a couple of years ago. And I was blown away to see how many laurels from different film festivals were on the thumbnail to that video. Like, they accept Lego films at film festivals? And this was before the case of the missing shark statue. So I knew then like some of my films could actually have potential if I put in the work to it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with the statement that if there was uh, a film festival dedicated to only brick films, that would be first of all, it would be a huge place for the community to come together and bring up the best of the best animations and also inspire new creators. That would be so great. I don't know why there isn't anyone hasn't organized this kind of festivals, but I hope there will be in the future.
Yeah. Next question, kind of getting into more of your work. How did you come up with the character of Araimo? And just for context for anybody listening, Juho, you have a reoccurring character in your disaster videos, Raimo, always causing trouble, successful but also very failure of a businessman. How did that character come to mind?
Yeah, I think Raivo is a quite piece of shit in my opinion.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a big backstory for Raimo, and the history of Raimo goes far back. I think it's the character itself. It is at least 10 years old, and I haven't told this anyone where the character came from, but basically the name Raimo is a very old Finnish name, and it's a disappearing name. No one wants to name their kid Raimo anymore because it's such an old world name, basically. And
Oh,
it's because it's disappearing. That's why I wanted to use the name Raimo to give the name some like more attention, so it doesn't disappear.
you make it more unique.
And yeah, exactly. And the character itself, and this is a big secret. I haven't told this anyone, but Raimo is actually a neighbor in the place where I grew up in a countryside. There
Oh,
is a neighbor close to our house. His name isn't Raimo, but he has a very similar name. I don't want to say his real name, but
you don't have to.
he had, yeah, and our neighbor, I always like to make a little inside jokes about him because he had a really high pitched voice. So it was like I don't know how his voice was like, it was extremely high. Like for an example, I started mimicking him basically when he saw me and we greeted each other. He used to say like, "Oh, hello there." It was like very high pitched, and the way he wasn't a businessman, but he was a very hardworking neighbor. He did a lots of different work around his property, and that gave me an idea that a hardworking Finnish guy who has a high pitched voice and never gives up and has this he's always smiling, and like that neighbor was always in a great mood, and And that basically started the Raimo thing. I looked up what could be the best Lego head for the character Raimo, and then I found a really good head from the Lego minifigure series season 2. There was this fishing gnome Lego minifigure, and he had this big green and white beard, and I knew that looks like Raimo. And then I slapped the gray hair on him, and there was that. Raimo was born.
It's really funny to see all that he's been through. Like your most recent video of the top 15 worst Rimo moments. Taking actually after that video, I started looking back at all the older videos Rimo's in, like from the oil rig disaster all the way to the wet floor incident. It's just so funny, but also a good prime example of never giving up, especially at your worst moments. Even though Raimo's probably not the best character to use as a role model for that, because yeah, you're right. He really does have a bitchy attitude. Like, man, I mean, talk about corruption, the assassination attempt where he dissed the animation industry for being too kid friendly. I mean, he has it coming at times, but also I think in the Lego universe, God just has a plan for this guy. Um, he knows
Yeah.
like Raimo won't have a good place in hell. Maybe just keep him alive and see how this ends for him. He could be immortal. I don't know.
Yeah, there's also I think because Raimo was basically the first first character that had a deeper personality than my previous characters on my channel, like the Top Hat Man and the guy with green sweater. Those were not so complicated characters, but Raimo is the first character that has some deepness. And I think I've been trying to create a new characters in my Lego universe where there's other characters that are like against Raimo, like an anti. Actually, I think Raimo is the villain in my universe, but there isn't like protagonist or any other characters in my Lego universe, and I'm trying to create them. I'm trying to create new characters so that Raimo doesn't feel so alone. There's actually the in Lego Tunnel Disaster there was several new characters introduced, like Mayor Geary.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to create more characters that fit in this universe.
I mean, it's good to really explore the different character dynamics. It would be interesting to see a character who actually has pure heart other than just standoffish a lot, because no offense, but what I've noticed in your universe is there's a lot of either selfish characters or characters with pretty I guess pretty high standards for themselves, as well as just everybody around me is an idiot except for me, just kind of that stuff. So it'd be interesting to see a reoccurring character who just looks aside from all that. They don't cause trouble with anybody, but they're also not too like pushed around either, you know?
Actually, I'm going to share a secret with you. There's actually one character that I've been developing quite some time now, and the character is called Aunt Jenny, and she's basically Raimo's sister, and she's a voice of reason who tries to stop Raimo from doing all these bad things by reasoning with him, and she's quite an opposite to Raimo, and I've been trying to. She's not like a Karen type. She's really a bit of a fighter, I think. But I still haven't found a suitable voice for her. So she's still open. But I've considering that Aunt Jenny would be a great addition in this universe.
I mean, it sounds like it. Well, yeah, obviously, I haven't heard this character yet because you're still working on it, but yeah, it sounds like a good new character, and I'm excited to see it.
I'm going to do a auditioning for the character sometime in the future, not anytime soon because I'm very goddamn busy at the moment with other things. But I think after the current project, the Lego Terrain Catastrophe, after that video is finished, I'm going to create an open audition for the Aunt Jenny character.
All right, all right, all right. Moving on to my next question. What is your proudest Lego creation that you've submitted on your channel?
That's a good question. Let me think. I'd say, actually, I have to say it's my Lego Summer Car series, all four episodes in together. That's I'm the most proud of those creations because the game, my Summer Car, that hits very close to me personally because first of all, that game is such an accurate representation of Finnish life and building your own summer car, and and I'm very glad that someone in Finland decided to create that game. The developer Johannes Rojola, he did such a great work on that game, and I'm very glad that that game got so much attention worldwide, both in Finland and internationally. And when I checked that, has anyone made a Lego animation about this game back in 2021? And there wasn't any. There was only mock builds of Lego Satsuma. So I decided, what the heck? Let's just try to create my Lego Summer Car and see where it goes. And it turned out to be a very successful series, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, those episodes really stood out to me because, kind of like what I did, you made a Lego series based off a video game. It had a good story to it, good recurring characters, funny themes to it, and yeah, it's. I think the most recent episode where, episode 4, when the guy is dealing with the pig creature when he keeps losing at betting. That one that one was a good standout to me because at first I thought the series was going to be like, okay, realistic, like no monsters, no crazy events, and then suddenly there's this random shift where it becomes like a thriller where you're dealing with this pig creature that you just can't cheat at with a card game or whatever. It's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a really good series.
yeah. And about the episode 4, the big creature idea came from the uh, game because in my summer car you can do the same thing, go to play blackjack with Vented Dealer. That's the name of the guy. But when you beat him in the game and win the cabin, the guy just goes on all fours and starts making big noises. And I always thought that was quite boring conclusion. It's funny in the game, but when you are trying to create a interesting story about that, I just wanted to make it a little bit more scarier and more monster-like, and so the guy turns into a were-pig or something. And yeah, it left me so many open ideas where to take that story. And yeah, I also like the episode 4 because of that.
Well, I might as well bring up my proudest creation. Let's see. I think I'd have to go with one of the most recent Lego films I've made. It was called Mars: The Bringer of War. Now, what's really interesting about this video, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there is no sound effects and no dialogue in this video. It is only one piece of classical orchestra music that basically tells the whole story. And this film was about it's a pretty simple idea. Giant mothership from Mars goes to attack Earth. It stops and destroys a moon base first before there's an epic fight for like superiority and survival. And it has such an epic conclusion to it. You should watch it after this podcast. But one of the inspirations that made me work on this film was there's an old Disney film called Fantasia where it's 8 segments of the movie. It's 8 different cartoon segments with different pieces of classical music. No sound effects, no dialogue, just the music that enhances the story. And watching that, I figured, well, there's a couple of classical pieces that I really love, and I ended up having to listen to this 7-minute piece like several times in order to play out the story in my head, then write the script for it, storyboard it, and then finally just start working on it. It's one of my most, I probably want to say my most head-aching work, my most, probably the one video that gave me the most stress to work on because there wasn't too much stop motion in it. It was mostly just edits on Premiere Pro of like still shots of ships flying by and lasers and explosions. So that took a lot of time to make. And my audio video class I was editing this in, our last day was on February 13th. So I thought I wasn't going to finish it in time, but I managed to finish it on the last day. No technical difficulties. Nothing was missing. It all came out perfectly. And I did submit it to a film festival, which I will hear back in July if it got selected or not. But so far it's doing better than the Case of the Missing Shark statue. Case of the Missing Shark statue only has around 250 or 90 views. This Mars film I made has over 590. And that was only in the first 3 days of uploading. So that to me, even though it's not nearly as popular as a bunch of other videos I made, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, before I moved on to my second channel, because all these other videos were on an older channel, this one that I recently made, I'd say I'm the most proud of because I just love how flawless it turned out.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Mars film yet. It will be very. I need to look it up at some point, but
I did send it to
yeah,
you on Instagram, but I can also send it here if you want me to after the recording.
yeah, that will be great. But yeah, combining music and animation together, that takes a lot of creative thinking and timing and listening carefully to the music. That how are you going to bring it live with animation?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great big challenge. And just like you mentioned, the Fantasia from 1940s. I've also seen it, and yeah, it takes a lot of skill to bring the music alive with the animation.
I mean,
And
especially if you're
I
doing
have,
it all by yourself. Actually,
yes,
I didn't do it entirely by myself. There's one little part in it where, toward the very ending, the person who's the leader of this Mars ship, he bears these animated facial expressions that I couldn't animate because I wasn't skilled enough in like the drawing animation to make the faces, so I actually had to call up a friend who I recently recorded a Roblox video with to do the faces in it. His name's Wyatt, and he did a really good job with the faces. I sent in a video of myself in real life doing the references for it, and the way he animated it, I'm very amused by it because these are really animated expressions that really stand out to what this character is thinking in that moment. So, Wyatt, if you're watching this, thank you for doing that. I should have mentioned it in the other recording, but we were so busy with what and all that other stuff. But this leads me to my
Yeah.
next question. What is your least proud creation you've worked on? Like, what's one film you despise, should have never made it? Because I have one too.
I had a lot of those videos that I didn't like. They didn't fit on my channel, and I actually deleted. I think it was nearly a hundred of my videos where I deleted them back in 2015 because they were so bad. Uh, I think that those are lost media, thankfully. But, I think one of the more videos that I published that I regretted a lot was it wasn't a parody video. It was like a recreation of Slenderman, the 8 pages video game in
Oh,
real life. I made a video about that. I basically just took a flashlight and a camera and went into the woods in dark, put some stupid drawings on trees and
oh,
tried to recreate
these
that.
weren't Lego video. Okay, okay.
No, this was in real life, and that was so out of place. That video was probably from 2012. So uh, there was a lot of similar videos like that, basically filmed on in real world. It wasn't like animation, and I had a bunch of those videos on my channel. They were really bad. There was actually a face reveal video from 2013 where I was just sitting in a room and talking about who I am and what's my channel all about. And thankfully I never upload that one. That video was very embarrassing. Uh, but yeah, basically those videos where I am myself in that video. I don't like those. I am not really a good actor. Yeah.
I have a good number of videos just like that where I'm being myself, but instead of deleting them, I just keep them private, not even unlisted, so anybody can get the link to it. But lately, because all of that's in the past, I've been starting to slowly make them public again, just as like a nostalgic trip for anybody who's been following for a long time. But there are a few videos out there that I have deleted because, yeah, I'm just not too proud of them as well. My least proudest creation was a stop motion video I made that, embarrassingly enough, it is the fourth most popular video on my old channel. Um, it has 180,000 views on it, was made 4 years ago, and it's about the tragedy of 9/11 in the United States.
I
So,
see. I see.
so in 2021, the country that I live in was about to celebrate the 20th anniversary since the tragedy of the planes hitting the World Trade Center and collapsing. So, my dumb 14-year-old self was just like, what if we made a film about this? And if I were to redo this video today, I would not. I would just wipe it off the face of the earth, but it's gotten so much attention, I can't just delete it now. But basically it was a more drama interpretation of what was going on. In fact, I tried to make it historically accurate, but there's still a lot of parts to it that just aren't accurate or just totally unrealistic. And even using the audio, I even used a couple of audio from the news programs that were broadcasting it at the time. And looking back, I haven't watched that video in a long time, and I just cringe every time I look at new comments on it. Either people dissing me on it or like saying, "Wow, this is so good," when it's probably clearly a kid saying it. So, yeah, if it wasn't as successful as it is right now, that film would be off the face of the earth, but it's still up there on YouTube. I'm not going to send you the link to it cuz I don't want you to see it, but some people watching this know exactly what I'm talking about, and I just want to say, please don't watch the video again. Just forget it happened. Anybody else who's new that's watching it, don't talk to me about it because I don't want to talk about it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I get you because the tragedy of 9/11. Uh, Over the years, many commenters have asked me to do Lego animation about the World Trade Centers, and
Oh man.
I I think because people are interested in seeing real life tragedies made in stop motion, but there's a uh, thin line between what's entertaining and what just uh, not
Propaganda,
what
basically.
yeah yeah because if you're going to make a video about real tragedy like 9/11, you have to make it respectfully
Yeah.
and historically accurate. So it needs to be an accurate representation about the horror of that day. And if you're going to just make it um, intentionally funny, and that's just a bad idea. That's going to make a really big uproar with the audience. So you have to be very careful when
hmm
making videos
I
about
did
these
have a
topics.
I did have a tribute at the end of the video though because I don't live too far from a memorial site of that tragedy. And honestly, looking back, I'm surprised my parents gave me the green light to that video because I had to show them the video, the final video, and needed their permission to send it. But I guess their mindset, I was young and I had put so much time into working on it that if they just said no, then they probably knew it would break me down a bit. But I did have a good tribute at the end, and in fact, on the actual 20th anniversary, I went back to that memorial site and I actually met a famous pilot who was flying that day, who had to reroute to Canada, who inspired a character for a Broadway musical. Funny enough, my
Hmm.
theater class back in eighth grade, I think this was talking about this real life person just a day before I met her. So that was the highlight of that. So some good came out of that.
So, yeah, glad to hear there was some positive aspects with that video associated because yeah, great to hear that. But speaking of tragedies, uh, I think the tragedy of Titanic, that's an exception, I think,
Yeah,
because
because that was purely an accident. A lot of
yeah,
different
and
things that led to that tragedy. In fact, today marks 114 years since I think they picked up passengers in France. So
hmm,
there's one channel I'm following that's doing all that right now. Doing
yeah, and I think because there has been maybe thousands of Lego animations made about Titanic, and I think what we can learn from that is uh, when there's a disaster or tragedy or accident that isn't like connected with terrorism or uh, conflicts with other people. I think those like tragedies caused by nature, those are like more open topics for creating animations about them.
hmm Like somebody can go in and make an animation about the eruption of Pompeii in the year 79, but then there's also that thin line that, let's say you want to make an animation about a ship that sank during a war. I'm one of my most popular videos on my old channel is a recreation of the sinking of the Lusitania back in World War One. I think that's an exception because that was a time of war and that's something a lot of people talk about in the classroom today. And I mean, stuff about war, that's okay to reference on animation, but when it comes to like maybe the assassination of a political figure or the a terrorist attack on foreign soil or even a very controversial thing that happened in a war like Vietnam, then that should really be thought out carefully before even deciding to make anything animated about it.
Yeah, I think creators need to create evaluation about and ask themselves, is this a great topic to make an animation about? And if so, then you have to do careful research about that topic and then decide, am I going to do this or not? Yeah, but I think wars in general, making animations about them is, if you're going to just make a historical film about different parts of the different wars, so I think I think that's a, yeah, you just have to be a bit vague. You just need to be a bit vague about the
Mm-hmm.
aspects of war. I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather just stick with original ideas, something where you can have inspiration for it, but you're also putting your own creative part about it. Like making all these original ideas that I've been working on. That's good. It really I guess it builds up your intelligence a little bit, but also builds up your good storytelling skills and really puts it out there to different film industries. Hey, this guy is really good at what he does. Maybe we should talk to him and see if we can hire him for something. So that's kind of what I'm hoping people get out of my work is they see how good of a storyteller and how good at my craft I am. That could lead me down a good future path. Have you been considering any of that stuff? Turning this into a career?
Well, it's basically a career at this point because my when my YouTube channel really started growing up back in 2018, and when I was still in high school, I actually wasn't going to pursue on film industry. I was trying to make my way to university and learn about mathematics and physics. But in the last year of high school, when my channel was still growing and I made more original ideas and stories, and then I decided that no, I want to make this stuff. I don't want to spend my time learning about mathematics and physics, even though those topics really were key interest for me. But I had to make a decision because I don't have time for everything, and people often have to make choices that define their career path. So I decided that I still graduated from high school, but then I made a U-turn and started learning about filmmaking. And I used my YouTube channel as a great like it was like a part of my work portfolio for different film schools to show that I have some experience in this field already. So, but I want to expand my knowledge about it. So, but yeah, my channel really helped me to push forward into the film industry. And at this point, I'm actually graduating from a film school in Turku University of Applied Sciences in bachelor's degree in film and media.
Wow.
Actually in within 2 months, I am actually working on my thesis right now. So yeah, and I think I wouldn't be here without my channel. And yeah, I'm actually trying to like make my trying to like focus more on the film industry and not just on the animation side. I want to like make not just animations. I want to work on other film genres.
Like more live action stuff?
Yes.
I've been starting to do that as well. My final in my audio video class this year, I decided to move on from animation and do something a little more real life, in which I made a kind of personal film based off a true story. I won't go too much into it, but that one took a few months of work filming at a real location and um, teaching my amateur cinematographers and parents how to do camera work. Um, Being a good director as well as even putting my acting skills out there because I wrote, directed, and starred in my own film. Basically, it's about 19 minutes long. Also submitted to a film festival, and so good it even made my parents cry. So I think if I could make people cry from this, then I think I did a good job. So I'm starting to lean into more of the real life film stuff as well. I mean, heck, I already work volunteer as a cameraman at my local football stadium where the last 3 years I've been filming all the high school games that happen up there. And of course, since I am in high school still, I couldn't get paid for that, but I graduate this year so I can go back up there and actually get paid to do this. So that's that's one good start to me getting into a whole industry of that because I don't want to just be a filmmaker, but I'm also more into photography and maybe sports broadcasting, news broadcasting. But I would like to work on big budget films as well as maybe even television shows or maybe even just settle down and work on my own stuff like I'm still doing because I still have a few big ideas that I'd like to complete.
Yeah, that sounds great. I really recommend you to do freelancer jobs as a photographer and being a, like you said, was it like podcast or what was the other thing you said?
Sports broadcasting?
Yeah, those. So I also do photography freelancer jobs every now and then, and I make a do freelancer gigs in smaller film projects around the area where I live, and those are a great way to get your name around and offer your services to people in the same industry. And yeah, and it's a great way to start earning some cash from this experience, hobby or job.
Like my photography, I really started doing it this year, like volunteering to take photos for school events, but this is one hobby photo that I took recently, about a month or two ago. There was a lunar eclipse happening, and it was overcast that morning, so you couldn't see the moon. I literally stood outside in the cold for over an hour, waiting for the clouds to part so I could just get one shot of the moon. And this was one of the best ones I got.
Speaking of lunar eclipse, I have a bit similar photograph that I took. I don't think it was the same eclipse because we are in the different parts of the world, but let's see if this link works. Basically,
no, I see it. Wow.
Yeah, I captured this shot of the lunar eclipse, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot better than mine because you definitely had a bigger lens for it, and you had no clouds to deal with. But
there were a bunch of clouds, and I just got lucky. There was just a small hall to get this picture taken. And yeah, uh, this was actually the second time I've seen lunar eclipse, but not this clear. This was a great experience.
Let's see. There's these two other shots of the night of that eclipse. This was before the moon turned red, but I'm pretty proud of especially the first photo because it kind of looks like something out of a like It's a Wonderful Life or an old 40s movie that made it points a shot at the moon.
I see you're using Canon. What Canon camera do you use?
Um, I don't actually know. Wait. Hold on, I'll be right back. Let me go actually get it.